But let's, talk first and foremost. How does it feel for you? What's the feeling like?
Actually won Miss World Nigeria in April.
Okay.
I'm sinking everything in one step at a time. I feel like I'm God's special baby. Very far. My mom used to call me Agbani Derego. So, giving back to your community, showing love, advocating for causes, being the voiceless.
Right.
And this was birthed because of my life experience.
Yeah.
I grew up without a mother, and because of the poor healthcare system in Nigeria, so helping children acquire quality education. Because what I went through as a child growing up and getting to this point, and the only way I could express myself was through dance. And he's a police officer, so he's not always there. So I always run back to myself. The trauma makes you go out of what you were put in this world to do. Like, I'm an overthinker. I would think about it for 7 days. I'd love to be an activist if I'm not a pageant queen.
It's a great tune right there, man. Lost Frequencies. Where are you now? You're still live on the dopest midday show on the planet, and of course the Magic King holding you down right there, making sure that you're having a fabulous Friday. And right now I do have a special guest, in the house with me, and she's looking all fly, fab, beautiful, classy with it. And, if you're looking at, all of that, that I've described thus far, you might be wondering, who it is that, I got in the house. I do have, Miss World Nigeria, Queen Joy Mojisola Rime in the house with me today. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Man, it's great to have you.
Yes, I'm very glad to be here.
How does it feel when people call you Queen? They say Queen Mojisola Rime. How does that feel for you?
I don't know. I think I feel like it's normal. It's normal. Everyone is a queen.
Is a queen.
Every
True
girl is a queen.
I do agree with that. And every man is a king as well, right?
Okay. If you say so.
So we're gonna do that. I know how ladies, be. When we say all ladies are queens, you're like yes.
Yeah.
And then when we say all men are kings, you're like I don't be some kind of man. Where you say
No, whatever makes you sleep at night.
We're gonna dig into that later. Your most questionable, or your most interesting encounter with a man, that you drew close to your life. Maybe we might tap into that, maybe not. But let's talk first and foremost. How does it feel for you? What's the feeling like?
Well, when I actually won Miss World Nigeria in April, I think 5th of April, whenever I go on media rounds and they ask me how do I feel, I don't know what to say because I didn't know how I was feeling. But now I actually feel very great. Okay. I'm sinking everything in one step at a time, and I feel great. I feel like I'm living my dream. This is something I've always dreamt of.
I feel you.
Always. So I feel very grateful. I feel like I'm God's special baby.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. But when did this dream, you say this is something you've always dreamt of. When did the seed of this dream got planted in your heart? How far back is that?
Very far. My mom used to call me Agbani Derego.
Okay.
Yes. So for my mom to always tell me, oh, you're going to be like Miss World, you're going to be Miss World, you're going to be something very great. And she's always pondering on Miss World. And since then, I didn't like pageantry like that. It was my sister that liked pageantry. And in her primary school and nursery school, she always won her pageantry those days. And when we got out of school, I just found myself in this line. And every single pageant I've contested in, I have won either the first runner or the winner,
Wow.
And since then, it's just been good.
Awesome. Yeah. Let's talk about this title. What does it mean to you? Like, what does this title really mean to you? Away from the pageantry and the flash and the razzmatazz, what does it really mean to you on a deeper level?
People think pageantry is all about, or being a queen is all about the crown and the sash and the beautiful go-to events, sit and look pretty, is more than that. It's like a public office, if I can say. You have to have something you give to your community and the world at large. You have to offer something. Is a platform where you get to advocate for causes that are important to you. It's a platform where you get to lend your voice, be the voice of the voiceless. You understand? It's not just a crown. It's not anything of what the society put it to be. As for me, this pageantry is something that is very, very important to me because it aligns with my goals. I am very passionate about service to humanity. You have to be. You have to be passionate about service to humanity because this is what it's all about. So, giving back to your community, showing love, advocating for causes, being the voiceless.
Right. And let's tap into that. Let's go deeper into that. Talking about advocacy and the purpose that you want to use your crown for. What are you doing, in your stead?
Okay, I have had the Love for Humanity project since 4 years now.
Interesting.
Since I started pageantry. So now I also brought out Omoluabi Renaissance Initiative. Is something that has a clear focus on empowerment of women and children, specifically child education and women's health. And this was birthed because of my life experience. Yeah. I grew up without a mother.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And because of the poor healthcare system in Nigeria, that's why I lost her. And it's heartbreaking to see children, very little children, going through that. That is why I'm advocating for that cause, and also helping children acquire quality education. Because let me tell you, an educated child has a greater chance at being something in life,
Fact.
at making right decisions.
Fact.
While an educated child, I don't know.
Their chances and odds are reduced just by that alone.
Drastically. So that's why child education is very important. And to back that up, women's health is also very important, because women are the primary caregiver at the end of the day. If you like what I went through as a child growing up and getting to this point, if I start telling you, we're not going to leave here.
No, we're definitely going to tap into that. Yeah, and I want to ask you before we'll go for a music break, because it seems you've experienced so much that has shaped the woman that you are, not just outside but also on the inside. And what you said right now, that if I talk about some of the things I've been through, we will not end. But let's tap into one thing that you've experienced growing up that have shaped the woman that you've become on the inside.
Well, growing up without a mother, I faced so many challenges, and I actually had a primary caregiver, which is my father's wife.
Okay.
I would call her my stepmother.
Stepmom, yeah.
Yes, but she did not play the role she was expected to play. And because of her impact in my life, I found it hard expressing myself. And the only way I could express myself was through dance. I'm a dancer.
Oh, nice.
And
Beautiful.
arts. I also studied theatre arts in the University of Port Harcourt, and
nice.
art.
Nice.
So being alone, having issues and not seeing anyone to go back to, because my dad is a civil servant, he's a police officer, so he's not always there. So I always run back to myself. That made me very self-reliant, independent, and very goal-driven. I always do things myself. If you ask anybody around me, they will be like, "Can you leave it? Let me do it for you." And I'll be like, "No, let me just do it." So it has shaped me into being very self-reliant and independent young lady. And I believe that is why I'm at the position I am today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go for a short music break. When we come back, I got more questions for you still. Before I gotta let you go. In a while, but let's go play some Doechii music. Do you like Doechii, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. That's Doechii right there with Anxiety, and of course, I take away your anxiety right there. It's the dopest midday show for a reason, and they call me the Magic King for a reason as well. So don't worry, I got you covered. And we're still having a very beautiful conversation with this, very beautiful woman. Who's not only beautiful, on the outside, but also on the inside. I'm digging into her mind, into her soul, and I gotta say kudos to what it is that you're doing, for your cause. I talk about, the queen, in the house with me, Miss World Nigeria, Joy Mojisola Rime, who's here with me talking about, our journey thus far. And of course, we're gonna tap into, what's still coming next, and what's ahead. But you said something a while ago, Joy, where you said that even though you didn't have that model figure, you still, make sure that you got back to yourself and found a positive place, where you can grow from. And to really say that, I feel like it's a very important juncture right now to tell someone, because a lot of times I see Nigerian youth and they say, "Oh, I became what I became because I didn't have certain, figures in my life." And what would you say to them, in that way? If you could talk to them right now, what would you say to them?
Well, at the end of the day, it all boils down to the decisions you decide to make. It's all about you at the end of the day. You can decide to go the right path, or you can decide to toe the wrong path. And not having a parent or losing your both parent does not mean you should do stuff. The trauma makes you go out of what you were put in this world to do,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, we're all put in this world for a purpose,
Fact.
a good purpose.
Fact.
It will never be a bad purpose. So you just have to go back inside you, think internally, and know that, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is how I'm supposed to help myself and my family. This is how I'm supposed to make a good name for myself.
I feel you.
Your predicament cannot determine who you become at
Fact.
the end of the day.
Fact on fact.
It cannot. So at the end of the day, just try and be the best version of yourself, so that when you get asked at the end of the day how you lived life, you can proudly say, I did a lot of good things with my life.
Man.
Yeah.
Beautiful, amazing right there. And thank you for that. On behalf of every single person who has received that out there, and it has sparked the fire within them. But let me tap into your vulnerable side a little bit. Is there one thing that you've done in the past that you probably felt like if you could redo it, you would do it a bit differently?
Obviously, I don't think
Tell me
there's
one.
nobody that.
Tell us one. Tell us.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm actually very emotional. I'm a Cancer.
Okay.
So most times when I act out of character, I tell myself, oh, you could have handled this better. Yes, so that is something I'm trying to still manage.
Okay.
So most times when I act out of character, I regret it for days. Like, I'm an overthinker. I would think about it for like 7 days straight.
I feel you. And then we're having a conversation a while ago, where, when we said, all women are queens, and you said, heck yes. And then I said, all men are kings, and you're like, if you say so, if that, makes you sleep at night. Tell us, in a sum up, Nigerian men, how would you sum up Nigerian men? Like, especially when it comes to this issue of love.
You see what I'm wearing?
Yes.
Miss World Nigeria. I'm an ambassador of this country. So
okay.
there's no way I'm going to say bad about anybody.
No, I mean from your personal experience, how would you say? Okay, let me put it this way: what would you say that Nigerian men can start doing better when it comes to loving correctly?
Okay, true. That question is actually nice. I think you can start being faithful, start loving your women very well. Like, it's not all about giving money and that is it. Take care of yourself. Let me just give you money. Just take care of yourself. And some self will not even give you money at the end of the day. And sometimes too, men deliberately play with feelings of girls, and I feel like they should do better in that aspect. Yes, it is at the end of the day, you actually have to find the person you connect with.
I feel you
very genuinely, and don't play with the person. If you're tired, just go.
Just communicate,
move.
Right?
Yeah, just communicate and move to the next, not like play.
I feel.
Yeah.
And I agree, because I feel like there's a circle of art that is going around, not just even men only, also ladies, Nigerian women as well. We need to learn to communicate and be genuine.
Yeah.
Because everybody's, if you go and ask a lady, like, right now, 80% will say men has come. And then if you go and ask a guy, they'll tell you 80% will say a woman has come. So, it seems there's a cycle, of how that we need to stop. But away from that, let's, you're an ambassador and an advocate for women. Let's tap into that. What would you like to show the world, or what would you like to speak to the world or show the world when it comes to being a Nigerian woman? What would you like to tell the world about Nigerian women?
Nigerian women are very powerful. They are very strong. Nigeria as a whole, Nigerian people are very powerful, but the women are exceptional. When you travel out sometimes, when you see women doing extremely well or people doing extremely well, 90% of the time, okay, let me not be biased, 80% of the time, they are Nigerians. And that is one thing I love about Nigeria. Nigeria, we're very resilient. We're very strong-willed. We're goal-driven. When I was traveling to my competition in India, I met Miss Angola in the airport in Dubai. And the first thing she told me is, oh my God, I love Nigerians. You guys are very smart. That was the first word that came out of my mouth. You guys are very smart and very business-oriented. I'm like, say more. So one thing I know about Nigerian women is we're very strong, even though I didn't get the opportunity to be with my mom for a long time.
I get
and
that.
and that also made me fear having a personal relationship with women. So I don't know how to relate with women that much, but I see them from afar, and I know how powerful women can be, especially Nigerian women. And that is it. They're awesome at the end of the day.
I like that. Let's go for another music break. When we come back, we'll come talk about, your sojourn to India, a little bit, and of course also tap into what is coming next after that. All right.
Yes.
But of course, in the meantime, this is Morgan Wallen with "I'm the Problem." Amazing records back to back, but I still got Miss World Nigeria in the house with me right here. Otherwise, still with me in the house, Miss World Nigeria, Joy Mojisola Rime. And we're having conversations a while ago where I was asking her where she's from, and she said, "I'm from Washington State." Like, that's interesting. And I said, "Have you ever been to your hometown of Elisha?" And she's like, "Not quite yet." But I hope you plan to visit, by the way.
Yes, I do.
Okay. I hope you plan to do something also for where you're from as well.
Of course, sure.
Okay. All right. I'm from Ogun State, by the way, so we have the best states in Nigeria. Like where
Please,
it's the
please,
gateway.
let's not get into that conversation.
Don't mind me. But let's get back into the line of the convo. I said I was gonna come back and ask you how your experience in India was like. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very nice. Right from the time we stepped out of the airplane, we checked out of our flight till when we left, we were treated like queens. Telangana, we actually went to Telangana.
Okay.
It was hosted in Hyderabad,
Oh.
in India. Everything, it was so beautiful, lovely, colorful. India has a lot of things in common with Nigeria. They're very populated also.
Yes.
And they have one of the biggest movie industries too, the Bollywood. Nigeria too, Nollywood.
Yeah.
And they're so loving, they're so welcoming people. And Telangana, Miss World, they treated us really nice. They treated us like the queens that we are.
That you guys are, and I like the sound of that. What's that one thing you say you brought, but that followed you back from India?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
A lot of gifts follow me back from India. But that aside, I would say the fact that they love their culture. That is something I would love to see in Nigeria. We should love and
Our culture
cherish
more.
our culture more. On a normal day, you see them wearing saris. Those people don't wear like
The
normal Western clothes.
kind of.
They wear saris, like it's like every day for them. And I love the fact that they love their culture so much, and it's something they could like teach Nigeria.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. I look at you, and I'm really, really like, blown away in terms of like, what coming from inside of you as well. Of course, you look so beautiful, like on the outside, but also, it's the same. Oesma once said that it's not the beauty on the outside alone that defines beauty. It's also what comes from within.
Yeah.
And it seems like, you're someone, who has a lot more, on the inside other than even just pageantry. So I'm curious. I want to ask you, if you're not a queen, what do you think, you will be doing if you're not, you're into pageantry? What's that thing that you feel like, you would be doing instead?
Can I change my answer?
No, you cannot.
Okay, I would actually be an activist because
Okay.
I love my country so much and I want to see Nigeria thrive. I want to see Nigeria do better because we can.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we can do better. We can be more. So we have the potential. So that is why I would love to be an activist if
Okay.
I'm not a pageant queen because
Okay.
I love my country so much. I wouldn't be from anywhere else, even if you ask me.
Beautiful, beautiful. And talking about that, let's tap into Nigeria a little bit, because, you say you love Nigeria to be better. And, just a while ago, I was reading, on a blog
Yeah.
talking about, the 200 plus people that were killed in Benue State, with the whole, uprising that, we have right there, the whole, Hezmen, saga. And for me, I feel like it boils down to, the fact that we forget sometimes that we're one Nigeria.
Yeah.
And we need to put aside all of the ethnic, differences and all
Yeah.
that. So if you could say one thing to Nigeria right now, what would it be?
At the end of the day, we are all Nigerians. That is who we are. We cannot run away from it. So we have to love each other. That is what we're put in this country for. I feel like we're handpicked to be in Nigeria. And I feel like the lesson we're meant to learn in Nigeria is that we are one. Despite being from Igbo, Yoruba, wherever, we are one Nigeria, and we should act like that for a change. We should act like that. And I believe love can mend all things. So we should love each other and know that we are here for a reason, and we're not here to bring down each other because the country cannot thrive under what is going on now. We all know. We all know what's going on now. The country can never thrive, so we have to come together, love each other, so the country can move forward.
Man, true that. Very true. Man, let me bring it back to your courses, and I know a lot of people heard that earlier, and they would like to know, like, is there a structure? If someone says, okay, so I would like to tap into what it is that the benefits that you're offering in helping like a child, or helping a mother, get better healthcare. Do you have like a website or a structure for that? Let's talk about that.
Oh yes. The Omoluabi Renaissance Initiative is a year in May.
Okay.
Clocked a year in May. So.
Beautiful.
Upcoming, we're having a charity gala where I'll be launching my foundation officially.
Officially,
yes,
okay, awesome.
Officially, because it's been running for a long time now, and obviously we will have other things put in place, and hopefully when that is about to kick off, I will have time to come here to tell you more about it.
Absolutely.
But basically, we're having a charity gala soon.
So you've not picked the date yet?
Yeah, but it will be in August.
In August, awesome.
Most likely. We're trying to put everything in place.
We're definitely going to follow through with that, and of course you have to come back and tell us all about that, because it is a beautiful initiative that you have. But on social media, I know a lot of people want to know as well, because I'm pretty sure from time to time you're going to be putting out information concerning that. So how can they get to follow you on social media, on Instagram? I don't know if you TikTok.
No, nobody should go to my TikTok. Just stay on Instagram. So on Instagram, it's _Queen Tiwa. All the updates will be there. You can follow up, see everything I'm doing every step of the way till my reign finish, because I still have a long way to go. I was just crowned like 2 months ago. So you can follow me on Instagram at _Queen Tiwa or Miss World Nigeria to see every information.
Beautiful. Awesome. I gotta say thank you for coming through on the show today.